Welcome to episode 118 of the Closing Table with Lawyers title. I'm your host, Tamera Gaede, and today we're going to discuss breakthrough strategies for agents in any market right after this.
Gather round the table, pull up a chair. Real talk, real growth, we're taking you there. From the first handshake to the final key. The wisdom you need to set your business free. It's the Closing Table with Lawyers title. Tamera Gaede, she's your main arrival. Yeah, Tamera Gaede makes the vision clear. With Lawyers title, your best year's here.
Welcome back to episode 118 of the Closing Table with Lawyers title. Again, I'm your host, Tamera Gaede. I am so excited about today's guest. He is Eric Sachs. He's a nationally recognized real estate expert. He is co-founder of Breakthrough Broker, one of the industry's leading marketing platforms for agent growth. He's a former top producing agent and broker, and with years of firsthand experience now leading innovation at the helm of Breakthrough Broker, he's dedicated to helping agents thrive in business, no matter the market condition. Eric, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thanks for having me. That was such a nice intro. I'm like, wow, crazy.
Macon helps me a little bit.
I love it.
So I'm going to start with, there was a Facebook post from Justin, I'm blanking on his last name. Anyway.
Justin Tucker.
What is it? Justin Tucker. He is the Fidelity AVP of Strategic Growth. I think I have his title right. He's been putting some interesting posts on Facebook, and I really like this one. He said, and this will set the stage for our conversation today. He said, first, the internet was going to replace real estate agents. Then it was Zillow and losing control of listings. Next, it was new models like iBuying. After that, there was lawsuits and new regulation. And now I'm hearing AI will eventually replace realtors. Yet in 2025, almost 90% of consumers still used an agent. That's because expertise, relationships, and in-person guidance and connections still matter. People still call their trusted advisor. Even with information, inventory, instant access, and processes easier to find. This time won't be different. Agents will evolve and persevere. AI will simultaneously create the era of empathy, and I, for one, believe what you do will actually become even more important. Agents will continue to be the linchpin of the real estate industry. But having the right tools and systems will be essential. Tools that follow you around. Tools that aren't trying to steal your customers' information to create leverage. Tools that align with your needs. The future will be about homeowners under management and the ability to offer guidance and value. These tools won't replace you. They'll enhance you. And so I think that's a great way to set the stage today, Eric. And it will lead us into a conversation about Breakthrough Broker and other tools that you suggest for agent success. But talking about sticking with your lead generation with your sphere is going to be an important part of our conversation today. So, okay, first question. Are you a traditionalist when it comes to real estate?
I mean, I think you have to be. It's like Justin said in his post, because we have AI and things are moving at light speed in technology doesn't mean we sell differently in the real estate world, right? If you still talk to the top 1% of agents, they're still getting the majority of their business from their sphere of influence. They pay for leads. They have all kinds of technology in their stack. But if you ask them, an overwhelming majority are getting business from people they've worked with in the past, and most of them have gigantic spheres of influence. And that's where we're getting the majority of business from still to this day.
So I would consider you a traditionalist because a lot of our pre-podcast conversation yesterday was talking about the tried and true ways of building a real estate business. So that's a lot of our conversations about in our content is making sure that we're not getting distracted from that we're using technology as a tool to help us move down the road faster, but that we still need to stay focused on our sphere. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. So I don't know if you've seen any of my business planning or marketing planning classes, but it astounds me that I go into a business planning class of 100 people And most of the agents in this class have not seen or looked at their business the way we try to get them to look at their business. So if you're an agent, you should know how much money you want to make after paying taxes and after paying your brokerage and after paying all of your business expenses. And then we drill that down to how many listing presentations we need a month and how many buyer sites we need per month, right? We drill that all the way down.
Yep.
Overwhelming majority of agents don't look at their business this way. I'm a traditionalist. We need to look at our business this way. If you're waking up in the morning and you're hopping on all the technology and you're reading all the media, but you don't know how many listing presentations you need this month and how many buyer presentations you need this month to make the money you want to make, you're just flying blind. And I think I'm labeled as a traditionalist because I'm like, let's get our business plan done. Let's get our marketing plan done. And everyone else is talking about all this other stuff that's going on that you're learning about, that everyone's talking about. But I still think at its core, we have to have a roadmap.
Well, and I totally agree with you. I do a business plan and a marketing plan every year, and I'm guilty of this too. How many of us do that to tee up the new year and then never look at it again?
Talk about it in my business planning workshop. So we create a one-page business plan, and at the back, I tell them, I want you to make copies of this. Give that to your title partner. Put it in your car, your desk at the office, at home, in the kitchen. We have to continue looking, and we'll talk a little later. I think we'll talk in this conversation about money-making activity. Like, what are we doing every day?
We will.
So for me, if I'm waking up every morning and thinking about those numbers, real estate business boils down to two numbers: how many listing presentations you need a month and how many buyer presentations you need a month. And every decision you make around that, around your day and your business, should revolve around those two numbers.
You kind of mentioned this, and I want to explore it a little bit more. But do you think realtors are paying too much attention to the media, and what should they focus on instead?
You're out with real estate agents a lot every day, right? And I get to be in front of realtors everywhere in the country. And I think we're a little paralyzed right now. You tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think we're waiting. We're hearing this, and there's consolidation that, and there's Zillow this, and Realtor.com that, and all of what's going on in the media. And we're forgetting to take action. We're not forgetting, we're just waiting. I hear a lot of waiting. Man, I should market to my sphere better. I should do some downsizing because Tamera told me we should be marketing to a strategic audience. But we just keep those shoulds internalized because we're so overwhelmed by what's being said at the office, by our brokers, by the media. And the lack of action, lack of execution, in my mind, is the epidemic of failure rate.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I have a specific use case. And by the way, I am so endeared to this client. I love her to the moon and back. She called me in January and said that she wanted to start geo-farming. And she has been a sphere-based realtor her entire career and has had a very successful career. And I was really puzzled by this pivot. Right now, I agree that multiple lines of business are very important in all salespeople business, not just realtor, but everybody. We got to have multiple pipelines of business. But I sat down with her and I really dug into, like, how did we get to geo-farming? Because this is a big pivot for you, right? And her broker told her to do it. And I said, well, let's analyze what it takes to successfully geo-farm, because that's a lot of money and sweat equity that you have to do to really successfully geo-farm a neighborhood. Plus, there's a long lead time, right, to having success there. And we started talking, and I said, is this something that you really want to dedicate time to? We took a pause on moving forward with it, and we'll talk again. But, I really think moving away from our traditional ways of getting business, we have to stay focused on our sphere, right? Those are the people that know, like, and trust you. And it's okay to have, like I said, multiple lines of business, but the sphere is your most important pipeline And so I agree with what you're saying. And we're getting really distracted with a lot of technology. So do you think realtors should be pivoting to new technology, or do we stay focused on the tried and true ways of building a business?
Look, I'm not sure it's either or. I think we need to be great at a few core traditional marketing tactics. Number one, we have to stay in front of our sphere of influence, right? I mean, those are the people we know. Those are the people who used us in the past. Doesn't mean they're going to use us in the future if we don't stay in front of them. So it's a very traditional top of mind awareness strategy that you need to employ to be successful with your sphere. My brother, I have a good story for you. I'm going to tell it real quick.
Okay, I love stories.
My brother's a great real estate professional in Denver, and he'll kill me if he hears this podcast, but he's great. He's got a business. He's an ex-attorney. He saw me succeeding in real estate, and he's like, this law stuff is for the birds. Let's go be a realtor. Open a real estate company. His wife owns one of the largest horse boarding facilities in the Western United States, about 700 horses. People in Denver who board horses have a lot of money. Okay. About 2 years ago, he calls me. He's like, I might have to go back to law. And he was doing DUI law, which, I mean, sorry if anybody's watching this, but that sounds terrible. And he's like, I think I'm going to have to go back to law because it's the worst year in 20 years of real estate for me. Things are terrible. And I said, Ian, you've got a huge sphere of influence, 800 horse families, and everyone else you know. Send them a newsletter. And he's like, you mean like a paper newsletter? I was like, yeah, paper newsletter. He says, that sounds ridiculously expensive and archaic. You're telling me in the day and age of AI, you want me to send a newsletter? I said, yes.
Yeah.
And he says, no way. All right. So about 6 months later, he called me panicking. Complete panic. He calls me. He says, I'm at Eric, I'm at the barn. And this guy runs up to me and he says, Ian, I'm so glad I got to see you. We're moving the horses. I got relocated to Northern California. Horses, plural. My brother panicked. He gave him that, you know, that like disgusted realtor look. It's like half nausea, half anger. And talking to my brother, the guy recognized him. He's like, oh man, I forgot you're a realtor. He trusts his horses with my brother's wife, and he forgot Ian was a realtor. And
oh my gosh.
Brother panics. He's like, oh, did you list it already? He's like, yeah, I listed with a nice young lady I met at an open house in the neighborhood. So he hired a stranger, man, for a $4 million listing.
I was going to ask you the price point.
That agent double-sided it.
It just kills me.
Do the math, guys. Do the math. If you're watching this podcast, I want you to do the math. I don't know. It's like I don't know, do 30,000 times 8. You want to do that? Those numbers? And so, guys, you don't want to spend, I don't know, a couple $100 on a newsletter every month. Hey, Tamera, I tell you what, if he sent that newsletter and this guy picked it out of the mailbox, looked at it, crumpled it up, threw it out, and went inside and said to his wife, I wish Ian would stop sending me this nonsense. Even if he said that, my brother would have had a $4 million listing because he would have remembered him. So it was only my brother's fault for not doing traditional marketing, not staying in front of the people he knows, not doing some sort of branding and awareness strategy. Now, my brother probably also could have done some client events at the barn.
Yeah.
Right? My brother could have invited everyone at the barn to a first run showing of a movie sponsored by my brother's real estate company. All of those things are traditional marketing, right? Traditionalist. Now, can my brother benefit from new technology? Absolutely. Can he benefit from some AI and his geo-farming? Can he benefit from data that you could have gotten him, that his title partner in Denver could have gotten him, that might have said who's likely to move in a particular demographic? Or there's great technology out there that'll look at your database and tell you when people are likely to move in your database. Great technology, but you're still...
What is that technology?
One of them used to be called first.io. I don't know if they're still around.
Okay.
First.io. I think Fellow might do that now. Uh, there's a bunch of stuff out there. But the whole concept is you're still a traditionalist. We all need to be. We need to nurture our sphere. We need to do great open house marketing. You can't tell me you're going to do open houses, but you're not a traditionalist. You have to send a postcard out to the closest 50 homes, inviting them to a neighborhood VIP open house that says, come see what your neighbors are selling their home for an hour before the general public. And then you put door hangers out that say, don't forget, tomorrow morning, come see what your neighbors are selling their home for an hour before the general public. VIP open house, breakfast burritos served at 10.
Love it.
Who shows up? People that want to know what their home is worth.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to bring traditional non-technological conversion, a kid's coloring sheet branded for you so that you're building rapport with anyone walking in with children. You know what it's like to look at homes with kids. Anyone who comes in who's open housing for the day that doesn't have a realtor, give them an open house comparison chart. Traditional marketing. What is that? Open house 1, yours. Curb appeal, thumb up, thumb down. Price, thumb up, thumb down. Kitchen, thumb up, thumb down. Neighborhood, thumb up, thumb down. And then they leave. It's branded for you. Your logo, color, look, feel, all of your information. But they go open housing for the rest of the day and they come home at night. Whose information do they have? If you give them a card, they throw it out. So this is, now, do you want to marry that with some tech that you can find for open house marketing? I don't know, maybe. But we still have to be traditional in our approach if we're going to do sphere marketing and open house marketing and geo-farming. Do you look at, do you have car insurance?
Of course.
Do you ever look at the emails from your car insurance person? Ever? I have USAA. I get an email once a week, and I've never opened an email ever about their generic newsletter. Why do realtors think that we're gonna do a newsletter that someone actually clicks on? It's not being delivered. It's either going in their promotions or they're Xing out of it. So email marketing, really noisy and difficult right now. Text marketing, you don't want to get sued, so you can't mass text. You can do a park bench or you can do direct mail. And direct mail is geo-farming. It's sending newsletters to your sphere of influence, and it's really the content. Do I believe if you're watching this podcast that you should send a just listed postcard to a geo-farm? No, I don't. And we have those the broker. What I do think you should send is, did you see what your neighbor just did?
Yes.
With a QR code that goes to a landing page that talks about the new listing. Your neighbor just listed this house. Message me if you want to know what they listed it for.
Yeah, I love anything actionable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just listed postcard has zero action in it whatsoever.
Of course.
So we need to create messaging that provokes action in people.
Of course.
I love the creativeness, of the traditional marketing. And it's interesting that you say a printed mailed newsletter, right? Instead of an email newsletter. If you were to target a neighborhood, and what would be the key things that you think should be included in a newsletter that would get people to read it or engage with you?
First of all, consistency. How often, your realtors, and I was like this, I would get a listing in the southeast part of town and I'd send it just listed, just sold, and then be done and be upset that direct mail doesn't work. Then I'd get a listing in the northeast part of town and I'd send it just listed and just sold and be like, oh my gosh, this direct mail doesn't work. And then I'd get a listing downtown and I'd be like, just listed. And I tell people, direct mail doesn't work. Well, it only works if you choose a geographic farm and your sphere of influence and you do it consistently. It doesn't work if we're throwing mud at the wall. And if you're watching this podcast and you're like, direct mail doesn't work, think about how you've been doing it. Are you doing it like I used to do it, like all over the place? Or can we become more strategic? Can we send direct mail consistently to 1 or 2 neighborhoods that we choose to conquer, right? Do we choose to do strategic? Do we get a database? Do we get data from you that says these 30 homes are likely to sell because they have been in the home for 25 years. They have 95% equity. It looks like they're a possible downsizer. Let's send them a letter.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to ask, what does consistency mean to you? How often?
Depends on your budget, Frank. Once a quarter would be once a quarter. Once a quarter, I think, is fine. If you're doing once a month, it should be new content every month. And I think that's what you would do to your sphere of influence, right? Get them a newsletter every month, something that's catchy articles. And it doesn't have to be, I don't know, we wrote a newsletter for Breakthrough Broker. I wrote the articles. I couldn't write an article that was locally pertinent or relevant for all 50 states. But we wrote articles that were like interesting, like pets hate moving too, with a picture of a cute dog. Who doesn't want to read an article with a puppy on it that says pets hate moving
You
too?
put a cute dog in something, I'm in. I want to see.
And on the back, it's got your logo, your headshot, and it's instant recognition. Oh yeah, Eric was such a good realtor. Do you remember when he'd let the kids open the lockbox and they giggled every time the key popped out? That's the recognition we want to do. And so I think we are also classic overthinkers.
Yeah, no.
This newsletter doesn't have local stories. Okay, but it has 12 good stories. Oh, this newsletter doesn't have this. And then you know what we do? We overthink it to the point where we never do it. And that's the execution epidemic that's causing failure in our industry, period.
I want to pivot. I want to pivot because there's some things I really want us to talk about today because I think you have some really valuable information. It's not Monday, it's Tuesday, but we're going to pretend it's Monday. So I'm a realtor. It's Monday. What is it that I should be doing?
I go back to what we talked about in the very beginning. I need to know how many buyers I need a month and how many sellers I need a month. So if I wake up Monday morning, I'm doing something, time block, something before 9, something before 11, and something before noon that's going to get me that number of listing presentations. I'm only focusing on those numbers every day. Okay. And then I'm looking at the afternoon. What do I have planned for the afternoon to get me those buyers? Right. So it's money making activities. I'm planning my open house and I'm creating great marketing for it. I'm making a few social posts and those posts are targeted, looking for sellers, targeted posts like smaller homes equal bigger vacations. I know my friends know someone that's going to downsize this year. Smaller homes equal bigger vacations. All right, Monday morning, I posted it. Okay. Monday afternoon, I'm going to take the same post. I'm going to write a short little article about it and post it on my LinkedIn because I'm working on Monday to get 7. I have to get 2 listings a month and 1 buyer a month to make $469,000. That's my business, by the way. 2 listings a month, 2 listing presentations a month, and 1 buyer a month in my market in Denver, Colorado makes me $469,000.
That doesn't seem like very many buyers or sellers to equal that giant number. Now,
I need to sell 17 homes on the list side and I need to sell 12 homes on the buy side. So we expect that, right?
Yeah.
Again, you have access to our business planning workshop and our marketing planning workshop. You can put links to that in this podcast, and that's what we identify. So if I'm running a business and making money matters, I'm not going, and sorry for if you have mortgage people watching, I'm not going for an hour and a half margarita lunch with my mortgage partner.
Yeah.
Unless we're talking about how to go out and find a buyer this month. Unless we're talking about going and connecting with property management companies and finding out who sent them a 90-day vacate notice and asking them if we can go knock on their door and see if they'd rather buy than rent.
Actionable strategic meetings, right? We have to always be about creating opportunities for more business, right?
I tell realtors all the time, and people hate this. Sorry to talk over you, but are you going to a lot of realtor networking events? If you're a realtor, I ask them why. How much are you going to sell at a realtor networking event?
Yeah.
And go to them all day.
I agree.
You'd be
All the
going
time.
to networking events that have no realtors there, and then you're killing it.
There could be a purpose, a strategic purpose to going to a realtor networking event. If you're going to talk to other realtors about what their strategies are, what's working, what's not working, what they're seeing in a community or whatever. If we're just going to have a couple margaritas, then no, I don't think that that's a good use of time. We need to be looking for outside marketing and networking opportunities, right?
Getting a couple margaritas could be a good
on
use.
our goals.
I said getting a few margaritas could be a good use of time, but as long as you're talking.
We can do that with some of the people in our sphere, right? Okay, so we are focused on our business plan on Monday. We're keeping focused on how many appointments we need, right, to reach our goal. We're spending some time on lead generation or branding and marketing. You said branding and marketing, but I also like spending time on lead gen on Monday. That's just me. What are we doing the rest of the week?
Same. I'm creating a marketing plan that addresses the 2-in-1 my whole work week.
Playing the 2-in-1.
So 2-in-1 is I need 2 listing presentations a month and 1 buyer a month to make $469,000.
I want you to keep saying that because that reinforces
my
that
average sales price is $550,000 in Denver, Colorado. I need to do the math in order to make $469,000. And what we do is we identify how much our personal expenses are, and then we choose what we want to make. So my personal expenses were around $100,000 a year. I have a daughter in college in San Diego. So I said, I wanted to like $160,000 a year. So I said, I want to make $260 because I want $100,000 in discretionary income. So if I wanted $100,000 in discretionary income at the end of the year to do whatever I want with, in order to bring home $260,000, I actually have to make $469,000 in gross commission income to pay Uncle Sam taxes, to pay my brokerage, which was a 70-30 commission split, to pay my business expenses, my personal expenses, and then I have $100,000 to do whatever I want with. And in order to do that, I need 17 listing sales and 12 buyer sales. So I need
So we're staying focused on our goal. What are we doing the rest of the week?
And that's what we're doing. So and then I choose a marketing plan. And in that marketing plan, we have to come up with 3 to 5 marketing strategies for each segment, listing side and buyer side. So for example, if I need 2 listing presentations a month, what are my marketing strategies for that? Number 1, open house. I'm going to try to get listings from my open houses. I'm going to do that postcard that says, come see what your neighbors are selling their home for an hour before the general public. Number 2, sphere marketing. I'm going to ask my sphere if they know of anyone that needs to downsize. I would like to help them. That's so my sphere marketing via downsize. I also am going to work expireds. So I'm going to do open houses, expireds, and sphere marketing to get my 2-in-1. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm doing things around those 3 marketing tactics, right? If you think about it, I need to sell 17 listing sides. Let's look at open house marketing strategy. I'm going to send 50 postcards to the closest 50 homes from my open house, 3 days a month, just 3 times a month. I'm going to do 3 open houses a month. Okay. Those 50 postcards cost about $48 for 50 postcards. So it cost me $150. Okay. For the month. I'm going to drive an average of 10 neighbors every time I do that to the house. Come see what your neighbors are selling the home for. So I just had every month 30 conversations.
That's right.
Right? In 12 months, I'm going to have 360 conversations if I do this every month. Right? Are you following me?
I am 100%. I'm with you.
If I convert 2% of those, that's 7 of the 17 listings I need. If I convert 4% of those, that's 14. So if I convert between 2 and 4%, I'm going to get between 7 and 14 of my 17 listings on one strategy. So I'm going to wake up on Monday and make badass open houses on Saturday and Sunday. On Tuesday, I'm going to make sure all my marketing is done and ready for those open houses. On Wednesday, I'm going to figure out who's going to do the door knocking on Friday. Is it my kids or do I need to call TaskRabbit? And you don't door knock. You just leave the door hanger there that says, come see what your neighbors are selling their home for. I know you want to. No,
I do want
So I
to.
did that a little bit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm also going to make my social post and remind my sphere of influence that I'm a great realtor, and I'm going to do some open house social posts, and then I'm marketing to my sphere. And that's just one part of the strategy, right? So now I'm looking at downsizing. What am I doing to find everyone in my geographic area that might need to downsize? So on Wednesday, I'm probably going to write a blog post for my website on downsizing. And then I'm going to find a social post I could put on Instagram, and I might take that blog and put it on LinkedIn. So I did that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I went to a lunch with my mortgage partner and talked about how are we going to get more buyers. And we brainstormed that on Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was pretty busy. Thursday, I have 5 other marketing strategies. One of them might be, so I have open houses, geographic farm. So on Thursday, I'm going to sit with my title partner. I'm going to sit with you and say, what kind of cool data can we get to do a letter or postcard? And then remember, every morning I'm looking up at expireds, and I'm sending a letter to every expired every morning, because that was in my
Business plan. That's right.
I go to my MLS, I look at it expired, I have the letter already written, I fold it up, address it, and send it to or I even bring it to them and stick it under their mat. I don't know, but I'm working on 2-in-1 all day long. And if you've got that all done by the end of the day, go to your networking event, go have fun. But I would like to make this more of a business for all of us. And that means a little more structure, right?
Yes, I agree. So we're going to have to wrap up the show in just a second, but I have one more question for you.
I'm
So
here.
you talked about, in this last part of the podcast about all of these strategies, but there is a platform where realtors can go to really find all of this information.
Yes.
So let's talk about Breakthrough Broker for just a second before we wrap up.
Okay. Oh my gosh, we built Breakthrough Broker. We owned a brokerage and had about 150 realtors, give or take a little bit. And we always had this long should list. I should do better marketing for my open houses. I should send a postcard. And it was hard to execute on. And so when we grew our brokerage really fast, 07, 08, 09 during a downturn. We were acquired in 2010, and we didn't want to work for the big company that acquired us. And so the thought there was, between me and Nathan, was to create a technology that just helped us real estate professionals execute. 5 clicks to send a postcard, no overthinking. 5 clicks to send a specialized letter or a newsletter. 3 clicks to post to social. The idea was to give agents an ecosystem that gives them everything they need, including like what you get to do with Tom Ferry content and highly specialized content. And so we've done that. We have a lot of users over the years. At one point, we had about 770,000 agents using Breakthrough Broker. We were 100% free. We went away from that. We're going back to that. So if you're listening to this, there will be no cost in a little bit.
Yay!
By April, again, just a portion.
April.
We're going to have a basic, a pro, and a premium version. The premium version is going to have an actual person that will do it all for you for under $100.
Okay, we talked about that.
But again, the idea is we built Breakthrough Broker to just help execute on some of the things we wished we did do better that we didn't.
Well, and I when I talk to agents about it, I call it kind of the Google for realtors, but I like ecosystem better. So I'm going to switch my verbiage to like a really great ecosystem for realtors, because that really is what it is, right? It's a one-stop platform for all your resources that you need to do your business and do it faster so that you can get back into connecting with your sphere.
It's not just content too. And that's probably why we say ecosystem. It's webinars and strategy pages. And like, you can go to Breakthrough Broker. If you got your first $1 million listing and you're like, this is sick, I got my first $1 million listing, but now how do I make the most of it? Go to Breakthrough Broker and you'll get a recipe for making the most of your $1 million listing. We'll tell you, create a listing, listing website, get it to the sellers so they post it on their social media. Here's all your social, get these done. Send the social to your sellers so they put that on their social media and they're promoting you as the realtor. All these things that you need to do that you might not have thought of. Like, I got a brand new listing, it's beautiful, I'm just going to make a beautiful flyer. Well, we're going to help you actually market it so you go out and make more money.
Love that. Well, that's a great place to stop for today. So, Eric, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
I love that you even asked me, so thank you. I'm honored.
Well, and I reserve the right to have you back. So,
anytime. You know my number.
I'm still a little jealous that you're in Costa Rica. Anyway, you have a great day, and that's a wrap on episode 118. Again, I'm your host, Tamera Gaede. If you like my content, you're really going to love my escrow team. So give me an opportunity to talk to you about your title needs and make it a great day.
Gather round the table, pull up a chair.